So these are Xaku Prime, the broken one, an amalgamation born of different entities. Not just one Warframe, but a fusion of 3 different Warframes pieced together and wrapped in a void energy, a tragic Orokin experiment. Actually, their lore is probably one of the more eerie ones in the Warframe universe, but how does the Prime exist? It shouldn't make sense, right? But Kubros lay eggs, it's in space, and Chroma Prime is somewhat in the same category, requiring different primes needed to craft them. But like I said, these are Xaku Prime, and they just dropped with the new Prime Access complete with the Trumna Prime, the Quassus Prime melee fans, as well as some really nice looking cosmetics. Now, stat wise, this is the difference between Xaku's normal and of course Xaku Prime. So you're getting slightly more shield, slightly more armor, slightly more energy, while also having a slightly faster run speed. That's it. There is no other difference except the visuals. All abilities work the exact same. Now, interacting with void traps in void missions will of course give you a decent amount of energy back for any prime frame that you have equipped. Now, I've already got 4 Forma on my Xaku Prime, and I think I've got the same on my Trumna Prime as well, and they are absolutely great. These are the relics you will need in order to farm your Xaku Prime. Make sure to pick up relic bundles of any of the syndicates that you can if you have enough standing for them, and then farm the usual relic missions as well, and make sure to run relic share missions with the community for your best chance at getting everything faster. Now, in terms of how Xaku Prime works, let me give you a very brief, and I mean very quick, overview of their abilities. Zata's Whisper is Xaku's first ability. It is also their subsumed ability if you want to put that on any other Warframe, and it will boost your void damage. You could replace this for Nourish if you wanted to, or any other ability, entirely up to you. Nourish of course will allow you to spread viral and also boost the weapon or the damage output that you want to get. Grasp of Luck is their second ability, where they steal weapons from enemies and convert them into void damage replicas that automatically target enemies in range of that ability. The power of these replicas will scale with enemy level, making it highly effective as your enemy levels increase. Giving yourself a decent amount of range in your build is huge for this ability. Now, your third ability is the Lost, which is 3 abilities in one: Accuse, Gaze, Deny, that you rotate between. But honestly, Gaze is the only real one that we kind of use, because it is a 100% defense strip against armor and shield. Stripping enemy defenses will then increase the effectiveness of abilities like your Grasp of Luck and your Zata's Whisper, because enemies no longer have defenses. And for maximum defense strip, players should aim for about 200% ability strength, or if you have Corrosive Projection as your aura, it's somewhere around 164 or 5. Now, his Accuse ability is a CC ability, but it also makes enemies fight against each other, and his Deny ability, as part of this rotation of 3, is a damage dealing beam ability, but honestly they're both really lackluster compared to Gaze. Now, the Vast Untime is Xaku's fourth and ultimate ability, the Spooky Scary Skeleton. Although with this update you can decide to turn the skeleton visuals off if you want to, if you like having your Xaku look the way he is without just being Skeleton Boy. But the Vast Untime boosts your dodge chance by 75% and your damage resistance as a result of this. It also deals void damage and applies void damage vulnerability to enemies in range, meaning that they're going to take more damage from your Grasp of Luck ability and of course your Zata's Whisper as well, because both of those deal void damage. Now, this is my Xaku Prime build. It is 4 Forma deep, and they are absolutely incredibly powerful. Now, with the aura slot, you can use whatever you want, whether you want to use Brief Respite or Energy Siphon. I've gone for Corrosive Projection, but of course I can switch that around. Prime Sure-Footed is in the Excellent slot. Again, you can use a Drift mod. Overextended, Prime Continuity, Augur Reach, Blind Rage. Then I've got 2 Umbral mods, again personal preference. Equilibrium instead of Primed Flow, because my companion is going to be giving me plenty of energy and health orbs. And then I've got Adaptation on them in order to reduce the damage that I will be taking. Now, I've also got Arcane Energize to help me with my energy efficiency, since this is a negative energy efficiency build. I've also got Molt Augmented, which is going to increase my ability strength as well for every enemy that I kill. Now, with this build, it means that their abilities have a decent amount of duration, a decent range, and a really good power strength as well. Of course, you could scale even more into power strength if you wanted to with Archon Shards, But for their Zata's Whisper ability, I have got 58% extra damage and a full 1 minute nearly of duration. That's going to scale up with Molt Augmented. Then for their Grasp of Lock ability, where I grab enemy weapons, it has got a maximum range of 18 meters. The damage is 112, and of course its duration is 20 seconds as well. Again, that will freeze once I use the Vast on time. Then for their third ability, the Lost, you can use whichever one of these that you want. Of course, I would assume that most players will be, I guess, prioritizing Gaze for defense reduction, 100% defense reduction. Again, the duration of this is going to freeze once you cast the Vast on time, which is also going to give you a 75% dodge chance, which on top of adaptation is going to help them stay alive that little bit longer. Now, Xaku Prime doesn't require you to subsume any ability onto them to make them incredibly powerful. You can use the abilities that come with them. However, I do have a kind of thing for using Ophinum Eyes. I've used it on a lot of frames recently, and it is an ability that I really like since it does slow enemies down. It also is a defense reduction per second, and it's also one that will proc heat procs on enemies at the same time. So it's a nice, I guess, more reliable way of stripping enemy defenses instead of having that area of effect down from the Gaze ability for Xaku Prime's third. So while I do have that on my second configuration, I don't necessarily need to use it. I can just use the base one instead. Now, if you are struggling a little bit with survivability, you could use Vampiric Grasp if you wanted to. It will mean that you will get heals back whenever his lock ability, the weapons that he steals, deal damage to enemies that are affected by Gaze or the Vast on time. The only problem with using augments, of course, is that you will have to sacrifice a slot in your build in order to fit this one in. Now, if you're new enough to Warframe, or maybe you're in mid-game, and you're looking for a build for Xaku Prime that might work for you, that doesn't have all of the mods that I've got on mine in relation to the Umbral mods, and of course the Arcanes as well, then this would be roughly something around the lines of what you might be looking for, just to give you a little bit of survivability, decent amount of range, decent amount of duration, and just that little bit of power strength as well. Now, you could use drift mods if you're at the stage where you have drift mods. You could pop those in to bump up your power strength, and of course Arcanes are always going to help if you have any of those as well. Regardless of what level that Arcane is, it's better than nothing. So that's my Xaku Prime. Happy farming, Tenno. I will have a video for the Coffin gun tomorrow, the Trumna Prime. And like I said, Xaku's lore is probably one of the better ones in game. 3 frames held together by chaotic void energy that has a broken state. Another reminder of the dark past of the Orokin people and the Orokin Empire, and of course their evil experiments. But let me know in the comment section below if Xaku is a frame that you're after, what setup you plan on running with them, and as always, thanks very much for watching.
Save myself.